Hello everybody, Ray Garner with Garner Games, here to do my weekly comic review. And it's crossover time again, boys and girls. Batman, Deadpool. Not to be confused with Deadpool Batman. Now, this is an anthology, kind of like the last one was. And this one starts off kind of interesting with the two cosmic beings of the respected universes deciding it's date night. So we have Batman investigating, which, Batman's prone to do. And we promptly get this splash page of Batman full of arrows being carried by Deadpool. Then we do a, standard good old traditional, let's go backwards in time. And Deadpool is fighting cartoon critters. Ninjas. Dip to compliment, we have a minor appearance once again by Ambush Bug. And of course we get the cool reference of, are you Slade Wilson? And of course, no, Wade, not Slade. No relation. And they're going around trying to figure out what's going on. They're seeing a pattern. We get Brave and the Bold references. And Batman points out that, that it's not real. It's all in our mind. The White Owl has us. Is our lead up to this. And we see who the White Owl is. Cassandra Nova. Well, she's trying, really hard to get this weapon that Batman is supposed to find for her, but he won't tell her where it is now. So in the mind's eye, Deadpool takes Batman to a Lazarus pit to get him resurrected. Because, nothing could go wrong with that. And he does get resurrected as Darkclaw. And the two of them have a not so friendly discussion as they fight across a couple of pages. And I like how it ends like main character energy much partner. It's never too late to win, Deadpool. We need to get her hands, get her out of our minds. How? Prep. What? I don't want work alone. There's one thing I rely on. It's this. I have a partner who will never do what he's told. And about that time, that Cassandra meets Damien. And then they meet this, what is this thing called? It is a laptop keyboard from the writer who was killed during a Suicide Squad mission. And basically it's able to write reality. And Cassandra wants it. But that doesn't work out well, as the reality is being reshaped into Deathbat. And after she loses her head, Deadpool starts to wander off with it. And we get the post-date between the two cosmic entities. Kind of fun little story. And our next story is Constantine going to see Doctor Strange so they can straighten out magic. As the two realities are having a hard time coexisting. We got a cool little mixture of Ghost Rider and Swamp Thing. And we get this cool scene where the two of them work together to try to make things work out fine. And in the end, they decide that working together worked out better, in which Constantine wasn't really wanting to work together. And now it comes to an end. Then we get to what I consider the most enjoyable of the stories, which is Laura Kinney, Wolverine, and Nightwing. And probably my favorite part is this little section right here, which is like he found something, but he doesn't want to share it. He's protecting me. That's Laura's thoughts. This way. Whatever you found, don't worry. She's okay. She's my sister. We heal. What do you do? I do what I do. I do what I can. And she's like, you what? Wait, you're just a regular guy? And they get there and Laura cuts the cage out as Badger falls. Honey Badger, I should say. Dick jumps and catches her to save her. He's like, oh, hello, cat. And he's like, try not to move. He's like, I'm fine. He's like, you have a bone sticking out of your hand. I'm supposed to have a bone sticking out of my hand. And about that time, Killer Croc shows up and attacks them. Because they're in the sewers, basically tracking down their pet animal. And like, this great little scene up here in this corner, which sums up Dick Grayson really well. So the writers knew both characters. He's like, he doesn't heal, he has no powers, and he puts himself between the monster and my sister without thinking of himself for a moment. And then we switch over to Dick thinking, it's like, she's fierce, but that's not the whole story. She must have been scared for her sister. That fear can also easily turn into rage. She has death on the end of her hands and her feet. So they gain a real abrupt respect for each other. And then we find out that her pet is a Wolverine. Which, why wouldn't it be? And end up going back to the Watchtower, where Gabby gets to pet Dick Grayson's dog, which was the whole thing she was excited about. But this last little one is really what does it for me. Like, we talk about our childhood, but most we talk about our fathers and the footsteps we walk in. It's that extra pressure that you're the children of a great. There are few people who would understand what it's like to live up to people who are the best at what they do. So, that's my favorite story. And it's immediately followed up by an absolute silly story of Harley and the Hulk. And the radioactive hot dogs. So they chase a hot dog vendor, and the hot dog buns fall into a toxic vat. And Harley Lewis says, "Hey, Hulky, do you know when you cross hot dogs with unidentified toxic waste?" He's like, and you get attack wieners. I mean, and Harley's "Let's do it again" in Hulk's expression. Just great. Fun little story. And then we end with probably the most, I'd say, serious of the stories, which is going to be Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, teaming up with Virgil. I call him Virgil. Am I right here? I'm getting tired, so I may be wrong here. Oh, all right, Virgil. I don't know why I was doubting myself, but I was doubting myself. The one and only Static. Most people say Static Shock because of the TV show, but it's Static. And the two of them, they even argue over who's going to add who to the other group chat. But they do immediately team up to stake out the big monster that's attacking their neighborhood. Really fun stories, nothing too hardcore, nothing too crazy. Well, okay, the Attack Wieners were pretty crazy. But all in all, it was a really fun, neat book. Enjoyable crossovers. You know, every bit as good as the first one. Although, I will say the highs on this one's not as high as the Captain America Wonder Woman crossover, which was my favorite of that one. My favorite of this one's not as good as that one. But I don't have any disappointing stories in this one, where I did have some disappointing stories in the previous one. So, very worthy of adding to your collection. I think it's a good, enjoyable story. Like I said, it's not going to have any long-term impact, really, overall, other than a cool book adding to your collection. So many covers for this book. Check them all out. Buy your favorites. And I'll see y'all next week.